BSc from University. Professor Zainal Arifin is Professor Research in Maritime and Ocean Policy at BRAIN and also a co-chair of Small Island Research and Development Working Group at the IOC UNESCO Western Pacific Regions. Without further ado, Professor Zainal Arifin, over to you.
Good evening, good morning, uh, everyone. First of all, I would like to thanks to Mbak Dia and team for inviting me to give a brief topic on small island communities. So I think I really love to hear from Professor, who's that name?
Nicola,
Toti, yeah?
Nicola Minat.
Minot, yeah? It's really very good as an introduction, yeah? So before I start my presentation, let me share my journey of my career, yeah? So after I graduated from Bogor Agriculture University, uh, I got a scholarship from overseas fellowship program under Ministry of Science and Technology at that time to study marine biology in Dalhousie Uni for my master. So, and then because I feel very cool in Canada, I was in East Coast actually. So facing Atlantic Ocean, and then I returned to Indonesia. So in during my working on small island research, there was offer from CIDA, yeah, Canadian International Development Agency, to continue my study. So I did my PhD in Simon Fraser Uni in West Coast of Canada. So I learned two culture actually from East Coast and West Coast of Canada. So and then I back to Indonesia. But I was 1 year in Montreal uh, to improve my skill on research. Then in 2000, I returned to Jakarta. Before I was in Ambon Island. So half of my career I was in Ambon and Eastern Indonesia. So most of my work cruise to all island in Maluku, yeah. Uh, I visited Banda Neira, I think almost every month actually when I did research on reproductive ecology of troca. So my presentation today, I have 3 points at least, yeah, my presentation. First, I would like to share about small island research that has been currently doing. And then second, I will share on network that we established among colleagues in Western Pacific region. So if you learn about issue on small island, I think in general, not issue on over exploitation of resources, especially on marine resources, yeah, overexploitation, and then second issue on coastal erosion because of many activities, especially in Western Indonesia, a lot of development for tourism, for infrastructure, yeah. And third, on pollution, especially now pollution focus on marine debris. In general, yeah, most of Indonesian, we are facing marine debris pollution, but in certain small island, both in eastern or western Indonesia, is mining. This has really impacted to many ecosystem. It caused habitat loss and also impacted to livelihood of the communities. At the larger scale, we already heard from Professor Minot about a climate change issue, yeah, sea level rise and then depleted marine resources. So that's the work that we have been done with my colleagues, not only in BRIN, but also in many university. We develop small island research. So during 14 intergovernmental session, IOC, Western Pacific, it was held in Jakarta at the time in mid April, if I'm not mistaken. We established network of small island research and development working group. So it consists 5 members in Western Pacific: Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, Indonesia, and China. So 5 countries, we develop a network focused on small island research. For Indonesia, everyone aware that we have more than 17,000 island. 90% is small island. So that's why we start to work on small island research with objective first fostering interdisciplinary research collaboration. So in my team, we have a social science, oceanography, as well as policy maker, policy scientist, yeah. And then second, enhancing community engagement approach. So I think we have here before, yeah, about we need engagement with the local communities. So we try to approach the local community. And then third, supporting evidence-based policymaking for sustainable small island development. So my work, and not my work, my colleague works, try to provide scientific-based information for policy making. So especially we give to several ministry who use island as agenda for development. And then lastly, strengthening regional cooperation among countries, 5 countries at the moment. So this is important in because funding is an issue. By working with other countries, scientists in other countries, I'm sure we will have a benefit from that. So this is the right figure, yeah. CIRAD Regional Network, we developed a small island research and development regional network composed of a university, international university from Tokyo University, and then USN, University Science Malaysia, and Shanghai University. From research center, there is Korea Institute of Ocean Science and Technology, and then Research Center for Oceanography and Island Research Center from China. We also establish a CIRAT network at national level. Next. So we have at least 5 selected island case to study. So we work independently at that time, yeah. Like from Japan, use Amami Island. Indonesia, we have 3 actually, Gili Ketapang in East Java, and then Gili Matra in Lombok, and in South Korea is Jeju Island. In Malaysia, there is Langkawi, and in China, Pingtangdao. We select 5 or 6 islands as a model where tourism is more dominant. So that's why we study about economic impact of tourism, for example, yeah, for the next. This work will continue until 3 to 4 years ahead, yeah. So I will share also about my previous work actually in cluster of Banda Island. So cluster Banda Island next. So cluster of Banda Island. So this is the first time I worked that I got support from UNESCO, Paris, yeah. So they allow me to visit Neira, Rune Island, so several islands here, every month to sampling Troca, yeah. So this is the island where the location is in the middle of Banda Sea, yeah. And then on the left side, here on the right side, Saparua Island is also there was resources, yeah, we call Troca or Trocus. Next, Pak. So, here. So in many island in Indonesia, not island, many region in Indonesia, there is a traditional practice of management. Here we share about the traditional Sasi in 3 islands, Saparua Island near Ambon Island, and Rune Island and Hatta Island. This one are part of a cluster of Banda Island. So Troca or Trocus is marine resources where the price is quite high, yeah, because it produce not the meat, the main they have a highly price, yeah, but the shell itself. So the shell is used for industry for button clothing, yeah. So this troca is very important for button industry. So this, if you see in this slide, there are three type. Yeah, for example, closed season. Closed season is a condition where marine resources is not allowed to catch for 3 to 4 years in Saparu Island or in Rune Island, both of them, because in Banda, around Banda, the 2 years, yeah, for, and then after 3 to 4 years, they will open the season only 1 to 2 weeks, yeah, to harvest of the trochus, yeah. So in this system, there is regulation that troca harvested the size mostly 60 millimeter in diameter, yeah. And then the regulation suggests that harvested can be done in Saparua, can be done only during daylight, but in Rune and Hatta, they can, in Rune can be done both during day and night harvest, yeah. So this is some of technique, yeah, they do it. Participant mostly from local community. The profit sharing, you see, fisher 90%, and then the village. So we like tax, yeah. Head village or village office will receive 10% of harvest for Saparua, but for Rune and Hatta Island, depending on condition, yeah. For Rune, 15 and 85, but for Hatta Island, 94% for the harvester and then 6% for the village. So the traditional Sasi was questioned actually among community and many scientists, yeah, why the stock is depleted. So that's why we as a scientist would like to provide a solution or recommendation by doing research on reproductive ecology of troca. So that's why we got the funding from UNESCO at the time, as because that was during my early career. So we got a kind of young scientist award, yeah. Not bad, only got 1,000 at the time, 1,000 US dollar to sampling for 1 year. Next, so I'll show you this sampling, yeah, Mbak Gita. Yeah, this is also about Trocus fishery on the left side, mainly troca, and the production mostly on a small island, yeah. This is from North Maluku, Halmahera, and then Ternate, goes to Leti near Timor, and also Babar and K Island. So I travel at that time, sometime from Ambon, goes to K Island through Banda, yeah? So this is the trend of production of trochus. And then we did, to provide recommendation, we did some studies. So if you see on the right side, about seawater temperature. So we sampling from December, January, February until December again. Yeah. So this is the fluctuation of a temperature. So during April to August, yeah, it's depleted. Temperature is decreasing. Yes, so decreasing, yeah, and then mean diameter of ovarium. Yeah. So we measure also ovarium with my colleague. Yeah. So the ovarium size in micron, so also decreasing. We'll see temperature decrease, ovarium size decrease, and then gonad index. Gonad index is the ratio between size of a gonad. Yeah. Gonad is reflecting the number of egg that will be released when they are spawning. So you can see in here, the gonad index was decreasing from April to August. So this reflects that during, because this went from April to August, yeah, usually in Ambon, in Banda, during April to August is a rainy season and wave, uh, high wave, yeah, also. So this three actually this reflecting that this condition make troca, the species is stress, yeah, stress because the temperature is decreasing. So when they are decreasing, when they are stressed, they will release their egg and sperm, yeah. So that's why we say, okay, from April to August is spawning season. Uh, the conditions, because if you see after August, they are increasing again, yeah. So increasing gain both for gonad index and also the temperature. So what does it mean? This figure suggests that if we would like to maintain stock of trochus or trocha, yeah, we have to harvest after they are spawning. This is the contribution of science to local management for trochus fishery. Next. So yeah, so this is my summary of research actually. First, traditional management strategy still relevant for maintaining trochus stock if the following scenario are follow. First, the size limit. The size limit is the size of the shell, yeah, that has to be harvested should be 3 years. Currently, only in Saparua, they follow this size limit. Yeah. Second, shorter close season require the size limit to be increased. So if close season only 2 years, for example, like in Rune and in Hatta Island, the size limit of trochus, the shell, should be increased. Yeah, instead of the close season should be increased to 3 or 4 years. In practice, in these two islands, Rune Island and Hatta Island, is only 2 years they harvest. Yeah. So they depleted the stock. other possible is the open season should be done by providing rotation harvest. Yeah, it will be good. Yeah. Third, the peak spawning between April and August. So we recommend that the fisheries to be open or to be harvested during fall each year, usually November, December. It will be good, giving a time for marine resources to grow and spawn before we harvest. And then finally, fishing practice and coral reef ecosystem use need also regulation, yeah, to regulate your fishing practice. Yeah. That's the work that I done during my master at the time. Next, we still have time. Bu Gita, this is a cluster of Pari Island. This work we done in after 2000 when I returned from my study. Yeah. Instead of I returned to Ambon Island, so I moved to Jakarta because at that time when I returned, the situation in Ambon, there was what they call there is a fight, yeah, there is chaos, yeah, in eastern Indonesia. So we work when I returned in 2000, and then we continue our work in Pari Island. Is a key case for island ecology under multiple stressor. The challenge is marine tourism, overfishing, and coastal erosion was faced for this small island and a community. Issue of climate change, I think almost every year we find flooding, yeah. So unfortunately, I didn't show the picture where Pari Island get flooded. Yeah, I think 2 years ago, in 2023 and 2024, the water was passed from north to east. The water was passing. Yeah. So the goal is actually from my project at the time is safeguarding biodiversity as well as ensuring sustainable livelihood of a community. So marine tourism actually provide a lot of benefit in term economic for local community, but in term environmental sustainability is degraded because at least there are 2 or 3 issues that cause environmental degraded. First, overcrowded tourism, tourists visiting the island, and then issue on nutrient, cause pollution on nutrient as well as on waste, yeah, debris, marine debris. So this is 2 paper that our team produced, yeah, a paradox between economic gain and environmental sustainability, and then charting the past and present Pari Island, reshaping the future of socio-economically and ecology impacted. So this is the work in Pari Island. So next, so this is the second example of a Gili Ketapang. Gili Ketapang located in East Java, highly dependent on marine resources. The population quite dense, yeah. This about 14,000 individuals per square kilometer. It's about 3 to 4 higher than normal number of population, yeah, density. Yeah. The challenge first, minimum infrastructure, so that why waste management is lacking, and pressure of aquaculture, especially on, if you see in this picture on the left, right side, on the right side, there are a lot of aquaculture, fish culture, yeah, that impacted to coral reef ecosystem. While we would like to have community to have to ensure, yeah, community sustainable livelihood for the community, we face a lot of challenge about marine debris, nutrient enrichment, as well as oil leak, yeah, because a lot of fishing vessel surrounding the island. So this year we will have two research agenda. First, on social ecological vulnerability index. So we would like to see how social vulnerability for the local community, and study also the ecological vulnerability index to determine how the impact of human activities on the ecosystem. The second topic, we will study about governance based on eco-theology. So actually we got the funding from the Ministry of Religion, yeah, in Indonesia. So how, because this island majority is Muslim, so how theology can transform or change behavior for local community. So we study about this. This is a Gili Ketapang Island. Next, for Lombok Island, so Gili Matra Island. This is different topic in terms of tourism, still tourism, but massive tourism. So this also cause a problem with marine debris also, and potential of harmful alga bloom, because massive tourism has potentially impacted to water quality and to ecosystem. So one of my colleagues will develop an ecological disaster mitigation model for harmful alga bloom and Ciguatera fish poisoning. So we would like to study what kind of nutrient enrichment will impact it to microalgae, yeah? Because we thought that this microalgae will impact it to fish, that the local or the tourists will potentially eat the fish that produce around this island in this island. Yeah. So that's why we try to provide data that show to the local government how to protect the tourism, and at the same time will maintain the livelihood of a local community. Next, well, I think this is the last. So the summary, there are three, at least for for tourism activity. First, limit number of tourism visit to the island. So we haven't developed yet, yeah, how to regulate a number of tourists visiting the small island. I think this will be good. I'm sure colleague in here, my student in here, graduate student, if they have time to develop the model, yeah, uh, how this number of tourists can be limited. This has been done in Thailand actually. And then second, manage household waste, especially debris and nutrient, and local government may take more role on the resource utilization. I think local government need more attention, especially for potential harmful alga bloom. Yeah, I think that's all my talk. Thank you very much. This is some of our activities last year. In Gili Ketapang, we did some study for aquaculture activities. These aquaculture activities has potentially impacted, yeah, not research that, but is potentially impacted to coral reef ecosystem. So after we had a field work and then we have a focus group discussion, and then at the end of the year, last year, we have a second international workshop, and we have a field visit also to Sempu Island in south of Java Island. Thank you very much. So I return to Mbak Dia.
Thank
Thank
you
you very
very
much, Mbak
much.
Dia.
Thank you very much, Professor Zainal Arifin, for a very interesting presentations about your research. Ladies and gentlemen, we still have like some time for questions. Please kindly raise your hand. Okay, we have one from Bima. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Bima. I'm from Hasanuddin University, Indonesia. Oh, dari BRIN ya, dari Unhas. Okay, I just want to tell us about how impact the seaweed cultivation in Trigili in North Lombok. About the tourists, so many tourists in the Gili Trawangan, Gili Air, and Gili Meno.
Yeah.
We find the cultivate seaweed in Lombok. So how the impact of the so many tourists in there?
Yeah, actually, for seaweed, is theoretically, yeah, actually seaweed has a play important role, yeah. So they are actually they get benefit because of high nutrient increase enrichment of nutrient in the waters, yeah. So this will be used by seaweed, yeah, for to grow better actually. The issue sometimes this is the case like in Pari Island. Many local communities switch their practice of seaweed culture because doing tourism it's much more funding, much more earning the money. Yeah? So that why there is a potential switch, yeah, from seaweed aquaculture to tourist industry. But this is the danger. The case of COVID-19 is not in Gili Trawangan, but in Pari Island. The tourism is collapsed, and the local community is also doesn't have any income because of tourism was collapsed. That's the danger, yeah. So that way, how to balance between aquaculture still there and tourism also exists, yeah. So coexist, yeah. So that way, the local government and NGO need more role, yeah, in this tourist island, mostly, yeah.
Thank you, Prof.
Begitu Mas Bima.
We have like more time for questions.
I think we have another question in the chat.
Okay. Maybe we can invite Nurfianto Gia Pangidun if he's still here to convey the questions directly.
If
Okay.
it is not, maybe a question about Banda.
Mhm.
Is there any comment? Actually, I had experience. This is that maybe not to be done by young generation, yeah. So that's during my survey, my sampling, yeah, because I have to sampling every month during 2 or 3 days after new moon. The sampling should be done during new moon. One time, 1 or 3 times, yeah, there is no boat come from Ambon Island to Banda. So what I did with my colleague at that time, so we took a boat, speedboat, from Tulehu in Ambon Island to Rune Island. It takes for 5 hours. So I wouldn't done again. It's dangerous actually. This is my experience. Yeah? So it's better for anyone who will travel to Nera. I'm not sure if there is a plane. At that time there was plane, but I don't know now. But if you take a ferry, it takes one night. Yeah, if you travel evening, yeah, afternoon you will arrive in the morning in Nera. That's it.
This is very helpful as we are planning on having community development program this summer in Banda Nera. So that helps a lot for us to like project and prepare for the logistical plan. It seems like
Yeah.
Nurfianto cannot ask the questions directly, but he has a questions on what factors trigger changes in the behavior of Bandanera fishermen, the majority of whom currently do not comply with the rules and guidelines of the SASI. And second, he also asked that it is said that the SASI close season for Ron Island and Hatta Island will take 2 years. So what are the community alternatives during those times? And what are the levels of vulnerability and resilience during this period? So the first question, behavioral change. Please go ahead, Prof.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I think we suggest from our research, we suggest to improve, yeah, from the close season improve from 2 years become 3 years. So this provide time for resources to grow better, and at the same time to improve number of stock, because when they are bigger size, the number of egg which much better. Bigger size of stock, the troca will have more abundant of juvenile, yeah, of troca. That's the reason. And then how to compensate local community in order to reduce potential illegal harvest, yeah, or vulnerability potential. So that's, I think, at the moment, maybe the potential is provide aquaculture. That's the simple way, aquaculture activities, but it need more funding. Yeah, so we can provide this alternative instead of trying to catch troca illegally. It will be good if we provide aquaculture activities. So because aquaculture activities will reduce time for fishing, for example, yeah. So more stable income if they do aquaculture. Aquaculture, it can be what Bima said, yeah, by doing seaweed aquaculture. The seaweed aquaculture is less investment as long as the community willing to take care, yeah, the seaweed, yeah. That's the potential alternative of livelihood for the local community. That's it, Mbak Dia.
Thank you so much, Professor Zainal Arifin, for your time and also for fruitful presentations and discussions. And this is the end of our sessions today. And before we ending the sessions, I would like to welcome Mas Nugraha Akbar Nurrohmat, the Vice Coordinator of the Indonesian Student Associations in North America and Europe. Thank you so much, Professor Zainal Arifin.
My pleasure.
Over to you, Mas Uga.
Yeah, it's okay. Maybe it's me. I can take it.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mas Gary.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this attention. This is really great for this seminar. So we already invite this very awesome speakers, Professor Minot and also Professor Zainal Arifin. And I can give you one just several key point that's really important to understand about this theme is really interesting. The first one, how the small island that really it can be vulnerable with the most issues like the climate change. But I would like to say not really climate change, but climate vulnerability itself. What Professor Mina already mentioned it before, but it's really impacted but our ecosystem and our household living in a small island. Because one of the issue that Indonesia is the biggest island state, the biggest archipelago country in the world. And the second one, how we sustain the system, the ecological aspect, that's really important. The land use change, that's really important. That the most key important that we have to change the mind, how back to our based on our intuition as a people who live in island. So the land use change that many changes become to agriculture that giving impact. So one of the example by human. Then I would like to say this is not really like it's about not anthropocene right now. It's really famous in terminology. So anthropocene, that's a human give impact to the environment. And based on the professor minute, and also how to one of the sensitive issue, how to giving recycle of the uh, trash, and like about how to manage this recycling. So like really important issue, how to keep it in the small island, because the case is not really like giving polluted impact, but also giving that it's really vulnerable with how the ecosystem, the quality of the water quality, because small island is related with the very less the groundwater, they don't have actually, I would like to say like aquifer that's really vulnerable with the giving impact to water quality. So based on the Professor Minat, but and then second one is Professor Zainal Arifin. I can conclude that's really important to understand that small island they already initiate one of the initiated about the collaboration between the Indonesia, China, Japan, and South Korea to enhancing and this issue small island research and already initiate 2025 in Jakarta. And also the problem issue that how to SASI really know this is SASI like how to this one of the key important to manage the system in preserve the small island. In a way, maybe it's a really original. It's from Indonesia, so this I can say giving the impact for you. So when we talk, about the island in Indonesia is quite unique. It's not only the island, but have a unique characteristic. So not only as a look also as an island, but how the genetic process of the island of in Indonesia archipelago is quite unique. There is a volcano island, and there is a, like also kind of the coral reef island, and also like the material like from the sandstone and coral and already become limestone. So it's giving the various characteristics and giving impact for the nutrients. So every island in Indonesia, especially in eastern Indonesia, they have specifically different with characteristics. So we have also the way how to manage also is really unique. One of the issue that climate change is already driven of one of the problem of the giving the sea level rise, and one giving the elevation, the island and having elevation is low below 2 meters. It's one of the matters that giving impact for the sink of the our island. So that's I can say this seminar, this is workshop. Thank you that I can close this remark for everyone. So you have to remind this is really interesting for you all guys. Thank you very much, Mbak Dia and all the member Indonesia, OISA, America, Eropa. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mas Gary, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for the fruitful discussions and also for has been engaging and participating so far. We'll see you in the next webinar. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for attending the seminar. See you.
Thank you, Prof. Zainal.
Thank you.